morning. So this is what do we got going on here? Like this is the section where the Christians sit. And these are the people that aren't sure. And these are the ones I'm preaching to. Is that what we got? The idea is to move everybody from the right to the left in my world. Is that the deal? Hey, thank you for being here. A couple quick announcements before we tear into what we're going to do today. The 31st of this month is a Monday night, and that is our Community Connect night for City Church. We just invite you, if you call this your home, real important night that you're here, 7 o'clock. It's where we just take 1 hour, talk about what we've done, where we're going. If you're not in a place of serving, we encourage you to find a place to serve that night. Serving in this church is the DNA of who we are. It's just part of where we were birthed from, and we just find places to get involved and serve. And so really encourage you to be here the 31st, 7 o'clock. And then also, if you're interested in hosting a city group, we're going to start city groups in September. That's our what we call our small group communities. Small group community inside our larger community. And so city groups are going to start in the first week of September. If you are interested in hosting a city group, August 2nd or August 9th, those two Wednesday nights are going to be an instruction time, a training time to be here. One of those, you have to be here one of those two Wednesday nights in order to lead a city group, where we will equip you and let you know what those are going to look like and what the dates will look like, and answer questions we'll have about city groups. So the 2nd and the 9th, you need to be at one of those two Wednesday nights that's coming up. And then last of all, tonight is a youth swimming party at somebody's house. It's at your house. That's right. And so, what time is it at your house? It's oh yeah, hey, it's at 6 o'clock. At Ryan, it's at Ryan's house. You lied, man. It's at Ryan's house. It says up there it's at Ryan's.
Sorry, it's at Ryan's house.
So it's at Ryan's house. Ryan's house at 6 o'clock. And if you don't know where Ryan lives, his sister does. So
Maybe. I don't know.
maybe she might. We think we know. So it'll be a fun night for junior high and high school to get together and have some fun. And then last of all, obviously they're not with us. Freddie and Veronica had a baby this week. Well, Veronica had a baby this week. Freddie did not have a baby, but Veronica had a baby. They went to the hospital at 5 o'clock Thursday morning, and honestly, during our worship, you might see on my phone sometimes during worship, I'm looking up a verse, and I'm trying to remember a note that I want to add to my notes. This morning, I confess, during one of the songs I was texting, because I got a text from Freddie. And so Freddie's text to me says, "Pastor Russ, good morning. Please keep us in prayer. Everything is good so far. The delivery was hard. We're being discharged today. Please pray for my sanity." So I felt that was worthy to reply during worship, and said, "Freddie, you've never had sanity." So just wanted to encourage the brother. So I'm believing we're going to meet baby Noah soon, and we're happy that was healthy and successful, and we love the Reyes. We're on a journey, conversation, really about just calling it toxic. And remember, our working definition of toxic is anything poisonous that can cause sickness or death. Is our working definition of toxic and toxicity. And last week we talked about toxic thoughts. I put on Monday of last week on Facebook, I put our memory verse for the week. Anyone in here be able to quote the memory verse for this week? And if you get it right, you take home a Starbucks gift card. If you get it wrong, you don't. Anybody got it?
Don't conform to the world. You know, first base. I don't remember the exact.
Come on, give me your best. Give me your best.
Don't conform to the world around you, but lead yourself to
Be transformed by the renewing
of your mind.
Come on! That's my brother. That's it. Don't conform to the world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Romans 12:2. That's really, really important. And each one of these messages, I believe, builds on the other. Last week, talking about toxic thinking. This week, I want to talk about toxic influences. And we're going to pick up where we kind of left off last week. And I'm just going to warn you right now. I could show you on my tablet. I have 16 pages of notes on this. I hope not to preach at all. So we're going to pick up where we left off. Philippians chapter 4. I love the book of Philippians. Philippians chapter 4 is where we left off last week. We're picking that up here. Our friend Paul is writing to us from the dungeon of the Roman jail. And he's writing to the city of Philippi, to the church that he had planted. And the church at the time was going through some persecution. The church at the time was finding themselves doubting the promises of the Lord. And Paul writes this amazing letter to them. And at the last chapter, chapter 4, verse 8, before he starts saying his goodbyes and naming certain people in his goodbyes, he starts with this word that says, finally. In other words, it says, of everything I've said, of everything you've experienced, of all that's in your life, this is finally. If you really want to succeed in the challenges that you're facing, in the doubt that you're having, in the words that are being spoken to you, if you really want to have success in that, finally, brothers and sisters. So he's talking to family. This is to our family. He's talking to the people he loved. He's talking to the church here. He's not talking to the world. He's talking to the church. And so today is really a message for that. He says, finally, brothers and sisters, whatever is true, whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is admirable, if anything is excellent or praiseworthy, think about such things. That's a statement right there. Think about such things. Now watch this. Whatever you have learned or received or heard from me or seen in me, put into practice. I wonder if we can really say that. Whatever you've seen from me, whatever you've heard from me, whatever you've watched me do, you can do that. I'm the example you can follow. I wonder, can people watch the TV show you watch? Can people look at the websites you look at? Can people have the conversations and repeat the conversations that you have? Because that's what Paul is saying there. He's saying, whatever you've seen me do, whatever you've heard me say, you do that. And you'll be able to do that if you think about all of these details I just gave you. And then he ends it with this. And the peace of God will be with you. Or the God of peace will be with you. You ever wonder why we go through life with so much anxiety, so much worry, so much concern, so much unsettledness in our spirit? Why can't I ever have peace? Well, what's influencing your life? What are you letting influence your life? What are you putting in that shouldn't be in? Because Paul says if this is what gets in, and then we act like this is what gets in, I'll live in peace. I'll be in peace. That's a good promise, to live in peace, especially in today's world, to know that we can live in peace. Tracy and I, she is driving home right now from Vegas, unless she stopped at the Keno machine on the way down. Tracy and I met working in a movie theater. We both work in a movie theater, and she's not here, so I can tell this story. And you don't need to check if it's true. But she was, quite honestly, when I started there, she was one of those girls that was like a step above like my culture. Because at that day, I was heavy in drug use and I was barely sliding through school and had a big old 3-foot afro and I was just a jerk. And to be real honest with you, there was other girls that worked at the theater, and I kind of dated them. But Tracy was like, she was like another step up. And one of my brothers said to me, "Dude, why don't you try to date that Tracy girl?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's not going to happen. She'll do a background check. I'm out." And so I finally got the courage to begin dating Tracy, and we met watching a movie. And I look back at the movie, and I'm thinking, what? Why did we watch such a terrible movie? But I'm praising God for the terrible movie, because now she's my wife. And I'm not sure if I married up or she married down. But we met in the movie theater, and so I want to use the movies as just kind of a backdrop today, not to make a blacklist, but just kind of a foundation of influences that I want to borrow from today. So What's your favorite movie? You don't have to answer that, but just think, what's your favorite movie? My favorite movie, by the way, is Beauty and the Beast. I love Beauty and the Beast. I'm a Beauty and the Beast guy. I love Beauty and the Beast. There's so many stories of Beauty and the Beast, and there's the whole movie preaches, and I love that good triumphs over evil, and even in the new one that just came out that isn't animated, there's a line in there where Belle at the end says, I've discovered that love conquers all, and it's just stop right now and watch that movie. That's what we should do. It's a great movie. So when it comes to movies, and it's curious what kind of movies we like. Maybe you're the cultural guy. You like movies that are more cultural, or do you ever cry at a movie? Everybody ever cry at a movie? Ever cry at a movie? No? Yes? A lot of people cry at a movie? I have to confess to you, I cried. Toy Story 3. I cried. Andy gave away his toys. Yes, it's sad, just feel it. It's like, or the movie Inception. If you saw Inception is about dreams and being able to go into people's dreams and different levels of dreams, and you got to watch it really close and pay attention. I don't like those kind of movies. I don't want to have to think. So really, the best movie for me is fast cars, some fist fighting, and good wins over evil. That simple. I don't have to think. If you like the kind of movie that kind of makes you sad, and it's a little love story, and the hero dies in the end, if that's your kind of movie, don't take me to that movie. I'm not interested in that movie. 2014, top 5 movies for the Globe Awards. One of the top 5 movies nominated for the Globe Award was a movie called The Wolf of Wall Street. Now, The Wolf of Wall Street was in the top 5 for the Globe Award, and I find that interesting because most people that I've talked about that ever watched The Wolf of Wall Street didn't notice what I'm about to tell you. In the movie The Wolf of Wall Street, which was in the top 5 of the Globe Awards in 2014, there was 525 different uses of the F-bomb. There were 70 uses of the S-word, 70 slang terms for sexual parts, 40 different versions of God's name in vain, multiple uses of faggot, whore, retard, and racial slurs, and that doesn't include the number of sexual references and sexual images that was in this movie, The Wolf of Wall Street. So we could say, yeah, we knew that was bad, like 500 F-bombs. So we look at 2014, and here's the deal. And if you watch that, I don't want you to feel like the biggest loser right now. But you're probably glad you're in church if you did watch it. But the winner that year of the Golden Globe in 2014 was a movie called American Hustle. American Hustle had 110 F-bombs and 51 S-words. Now let me just ask you a question. And probably my generation is the only one's going to be able to answer this. Can you remember the precise moment that you saw your very first act of violence or your very first sexual impression in a media form, TV or movie? Can anyone here remember the very first time they saw an act of violence or a sexual impression? I can remember mine. Anybody else can remember? 2 of us. Now seriously, I remember mine was a movie called The Trial of Billy Jack, which was a documentary of the Kent State shooting in the 1960s, and my older brother took me to it, and I've always kind of been a Vietnam era guy, just love that era and study it, and I don't know why, it just kind of intrigued me. So he took me to that movie, and it was the Kent State murders, and if you don't know about that, read the book. And I remember seeing this played out. They used actual media footage of the students that were shot on the campus of Kent State University. And it freaked me out. I started trembling inside. I couldn't handle it. But the truth of the matter is, only 2 of us in this room can remember that first impression. Which brings me to the point to say, we live in a culture that has anesthetized violence and sexual impressions to the point that we don't even know or recognize the first time it happened, or that it happens at all. We live in a culture that only 2 out of the people in this room can remember the moment that they saw that, and everybody else has been anesthetized from the birth, especially today's young people. And And again, I don't want to beat up on movies. I'm just using that as a backdrop. So stay with me through the whole thing. Don't do this. Don't sit in your chair today and go, that's right, Pastor, you preach. You slang Hollywood. No, don't do that. That's called legalism. The thing is, though, the chances are most of us in this room have watched something or allowed an influence that isn't pleasing to the Lord in our lives. And the sad part is that most of us have probably watched something that isn't pleasing to the Lord in our lives and don't even realize it. Don't even recognize it. I mean, think about this. If in American Hustle, 110 F-bombs, that means there was one F-bomb every minute. And I'm going to bet that if I dropped one F-bomb in a sermon, we'd have a problem. I'm assuming that would be a problem. But to see the tension? You see the tension here about toxic influences? Now here's the deal. The enemy will use a lot of different influences. And so I want to talk a little bit about some of those different influences. And I know today's kind of a real basic teaching thing, but I really do believe, I love this narrative, and we have a great deal of freedom that comes with this. And I love that. This is an expression of grace and love, and it is this book is whole and perfect, and I love the narrative of this. But there's a lot in here that as we walk in our Christian faith, we don't like. Like the part where Jesus on the Sermon on the Mount says, if you look at someone lustfully, you have committed adultery. Let's not talk about that. Because he says I have to jab out my eye. Or we don't like the part where he says that I'll bless you 100 times more and there'll be suffering. We don't like that part too well. We just like the freedom part. Well, so I need to talk on this today. But Satan uses a lot of different influences, and he's a strategist, and here's why he uses a lot of different influences. If Satan just showed up in our house and said, here, drink this poison, Satan in the flesh, whatever you might look like in your world. I don't know what Satan might look like in your world. In my world, Satan would look like one of the car dealers I saw in Vegas. But if he just showed up and said, here, drink this poison, we would say, no, absolutely not. So he's a strategist, so he'll bring just small little influences a little bit at a time, and we have a lot of ways of justifying those influences. So listen, not just the movies we watch. Let me hit on some of the influences before I really land on what we need to do with it. The music we listen to. Now here's what we'll say. Well, there's Christian music and there's secular music. Well, those are great labels, and I use those labels too. The truth of the matter is there's no Christian music because music can't be saved. Nice try. So it really is, what's the heart, what's the motive of the person writing that music? What's really behind that, the purity or the impurity of that message? And I think some people have done really well of giving an incredibly positive, God-fearing message in a culture that we would turn our back on. Take some time and Google Bono from U2 and watch his conversation with Eugene Peterson, who wrote the message. Watch Bono and Eugene Peterson sit down and talk about biblical values and how Bono declares most of his songs are written from the Psalms in U2's band. Done an amazing job. But yet, that's secular, so Christians can't listen to it. So don't come to my house. What we view on television is an influence. And listen, I'm not just talking about television shows that come on after prime time that have some sketchy stuff. How about the news? Listen, if there's something in you that says, I need to feel depressed, turn on the news. Just watch the news 3 or 4 nights in a row. You will be so sad, you'll need prayer. You'll text me like Freddie. I think the last time I watched the news, no, never mind. So, internet sites, sites that we go to, and even sites we don't need to go to, and sometimes we get sucked into. I did a message one time called Transformation, and I asked my 2 oldest sons, who still live in Montana, to help me, and I wanted to take a picture of our associate pastor at the time, and his name was Lowell, and so I was going to take a picture of Lowell, and he was going to be the after, and I was looking for a before. And so I asked my sons, I said, hey, where can I find some really ugly people? And one of my sons said, uglypeople.com. I thought, makes sense, doesn't it? So that's a true story. So I typed in and went to uglypeople.com, and it comes up, it's like, whoa! And then there's this little box that says, click here to see really ugly people. Well, I thought, yeah, I want to get my point across. So I clicked really ugly people. And all these pornographic sites just started popping up. And I'm on our church secretary's computer. I'm not kidding. And I'm like, stop. I mean, I unplugged it. Whoa! Plug it back in. I'm thinking, my boys would not. No, that was an accident. They would not do that to me. So I get back on uglypeople.com, pulls up people. For really ugly people, click here. Guess what dumb Russ does? Click. Sites start opening like crazy. And of course, I'm so freaked out now because see, I'm calling my wife, I'm calling my mentor, I'm calling my accountability guys, and I got to tell you what's happening on the computer. I am freaking out, and they're all laughing at me. Well, we don't need to go there, but sometimes they pop up. Social media is if you want to be really depressed and stop having a good day, go to social media and read some Facebook stuff. In fact, if you want to see, never mind. Never mind. Some of the magazines that are out. You don't even have to read the magazine to know if it's not a good magazine. If it says on the front of the magazine, 51 ways to entice your boyfriend, probably don't need to read it. And by the way, if you have a boyfriend that needs 51 ways to be enticed, send him packing. Like, just call it off. Just don't even go there. Some of the video games that are played today, toxic influence, some of the people we hang out with. In fact, next week I'm going to speak about toxic relationships. Probably the teenagers won't like it. Proverbs 25:26 says this, like a muddied spring or a polluted well. Now watch what he says. Like a muddied spring or a polluted well is a righteous man who gives way to the wicked. A righteous man. He's talking to the Christian here, the person who is a Christ follower. Like a muddied spring or a polluted well is the Christ follower who gives way to wicked. Now, today's message, here's the challenge here. I can easily slip into legalism. Or I could stay in the safe zone and just not even touch this topic and hope everybody just stays the same. But as your pastor, I would fail you. I would fail you if I don't give you the whole gospel and let you chew on it. And I have no desire to go to legalism. This, let me be crystal clear. This book gives us a great deal of freedom. But we use it, instead of using it as freedom, we use it to justify ourselves. Justify our habits or our actions. For instance, let me just show you something in here that we do with this. You cannot use this narrative. You cannot use this to unequivocally prove that you can drink alcohol or that you can't drink alcohol. You cannot use this. You cannot unequivocally prove either one. You can argue both based on what this says. Paul says, Timothy, drink wine. Solomon says, don't touch the stuff. We could go back and forth on it. And we'll make it fit whatever our feeling or habit might be. But there's a greater problem that we don't see in here, and it's called familiar spirits. And familiar spirits, and the root word of familiar is family. Familia, the family of spirits. So here's the bigger concern. There's a reason why alcohol is called spirits. See, right now you start not liking me. There's a reason why alcohol is called spirits. Whatever God has created, the enemy has tried to duplicate and has made a mockery of. So the fruit of the Spirit is Galatians 2:22, love, joy, peace, long-suffering, kindness. And listen, that is the fruit. It's singular. It's not fruits. It's fruit. The fruit, the singular fruit, is these characteristics. If you don't have all of them, you don't have any of them, because it's one fruit. It's not the fruits of the Spirit. It's the fruit of the Spirit has these family of spirits. You with me? Are you tracking? Okay? The enemy has created the same thing. The family, the familiarity of spirits that hang together. So when we allow alcohol, which is a depressant, can't be denied, don't need this to tell you that, alcohol is a depressant. So when we open up to the familiarity of depressant, then we're opening ourselves up to the family of depressing spirits, which is anger, jealousy, lust, adultery, addiction. So don't try to prove to me whether you can or cannot. What kind of spirits do you want influencing your life? Amen, Pastor Russ, you are so nice today. But see, I'm trying to walk a fine line, and I know that some people can hear this and go, man, you're a fanatic. Would you wake up on the wrong side of the bed? No, I think that there comes a season in each of our lives where we have to decide whether or not we want to grow deeper in our relationship with Christ. And that will always mean laying down what I love for what I love even more. It will always require that. If I want to grow in my relationship with Christ, it will require that I lay down what I love for what I love even more. And as your pastor, if I don't allow you to process that, I'm failing. Okay, let's hope 10:30 people are happy. So here's some of the excuses we make to allow toxic influences. We refuse to acknowledge that a little bit of poison goes a long ways. 1 Corinthians 5:6 says, your boasting is not good. Don't you know that a little yeast leavens the whole batch of dough? Get rid of the old yeast so that you may be a new unleavened batch as you really are. A little bit of yeast leavens the whole batch of dough. Listen, here's the deal. Every morning on Sundays, we have the blessing, and thank you, Emily Ferraro, for setting up and getting the donuts out there, and the coffee out there, and the cookies out there. It is so awesome. Emily takes it, and she's made an excellent little cafe out there. Now, here's the deal. I promise you, if we listed the ingredients of the donuts by percentages, and I have no idea what goes in donuts, because you know I don't cook, but there's stuff in donuts. And we listed the stuff by percentages. And at the bottom it said 1% dog food. No one would eat a donut. Or if Emily said, look, only two of all the donuts, 2 of them have a little dog poop in them. I'm not sure which ones. And I know 2 of them have some dog poop in them. We would not be eating donuts. We would not be eating donuts. And yet, we will allow a little bit of dog poop to influence us spiritually. And say that it's okay, well, it's just a little bit. Listen, church, don't mistake delayed consequences for no consequences. Amen. You can't sow bad seed and then pray for a crop bed. Okay? Well, here's what we'll do, though. Well, listen, I don't let my kids watch it. Why not? If it's not good for your kids, why is it good for you? Can you be like Paul, as we started with, and let your kids say, see, and do what you do? And it's not just movies, romance novels. I've never read a romance novel. Talk to people that have. I know how it works. Pool boy shows up. He's got abs. Next thing you know, she's rubbing him. A little bit of poop. Second way you do is well, look, everyone's doing it. Well, just listen to me. Just because everybody's doing it doesn't necessarily mean that it's right. Now, right now, I sound like your mom. But look at Romans 12:2, where it was quoted earlier. This is from the Message. Don't become so well adjusted to your culture that you fit into it without even thinking. That's a strong word. That's a strong word. And it's easy to say, well, everybody else is doing it. Listen, what would have happened in 1938 to 1943 if that would have been the global excuse? Adolf Hitler would have taken over the world. If everybody else was doing it. How about this? I want to tell you something. Just because I could, doesn't mean I should. See, we have tremendous freedom in this book. Can I drive to church today at speed and break the law and still be a Christian and go to heaven? Probably. Should I? Probably not. Did I? Yes. I felt a little guilt right there. You know what really bothers me is to be behind someone that goes the speed limit. That has just got to come to an end. That is ridiculous. Okay, a little self-confession there. Can I eat all the junk food I want and never exercise and blow it up and still go to heaven? Yes. Should I? Probably not. Can I go into massive debt buying things with money I don't have to impress people I don't know? Yes. Should I? No. You see my point? Just because everybody's doing it doesn't mean that it's right. Can I watch Desperate Housewives? Still go to heaven? Probably. Why? 1 Corinthians 6:12, Paul says this, all things are lawful for me, but not all things are helpful. All things are lawful for me, but I will not be dominated by anything. Now, oftentimes this topic is talked about, people say, okay, so what's the line? Where do we draw the line? How do we know what the line is? I'm not going to draw a line for you today. It would be foolish for me to say, all right, listen, City Church, nobody go to an R-rated movie. No R-rated movies. Which means none of us could watch The Passion of Christ. R-rated movie. I don't want to be some police voice in the back of your mind going, "Oh, Pastor, you'll be upset if we saw this." No, I'm not going to draw a line. So the question is, so what can I watch? How much isn't there, like, there's the extreme of nothing and there's the extreme of everything? What can I watch? I think that's the wrong question. I don't think the question is, what can I watch and still go to heaven? I think the question should be, how much like Jesus can I be? That's the question. Not for legalistic reasons, but for freedom reasons. Here's a cultural icon that we like to use. We've been fed a lie. Remember Pinocchio? That's my third Disney reference. You might figure something out. Remember Pinocchio? And he had a little friend named Jiminy Cricket. Jiminy Cricket, what was his little song? Give a little whistle. Give a little whistle. Always let your conscience be your guide. Bro, you do not want my conscience to be my guide. That is a lie. That is a lie. What does Paul, what's this narrative say? What does Paul say in 1 Corinthians 4:4? My conscience is clear, but that does not make me innocent. My conscience is clear. I don't feel guilty at all. I don't care. I don't care. I'm not going to draw a line of what makes you feel guilty and what doesn't make you feel guilty. What makes you live like Christ in such a way that you can repeat Paul and say, do what I do, say what I say, watch what I watch. You will have the peace of God. Amen. Paul says, my conscience is clear, but it doesn't make me innocent. Some people say, well, I can watch this stuff and not be bothered by it. Okay, all right, let me go there. So tonight, go to your neighbor's house and ask your neighbor's wife to come on over. And then go across the street and get that neighbor's husband and invite them over. And make yourself some popcorn, and get your favorite cold drink, and tell the two of them to get on the couch and get after it with each other while you watch. You would never do that. You would never do that. I hope. But we will pay to watch that. And we'll voluntarily bring it in our home. And we'll say, I won't let my kids watch it, but I will. Just invite the neighbors over and do it live. Think, this is a line really for the Christ followers. Think about this. 40 uses of the Lord's name in vain, and it didn't bother you. Is he your Savior, or is he just your pal? And I know today's a difficult message, but we got to go there. 1 Thessalonians 5:21 says, test all things. Test all things. Hold fast what's good, abstain from what's evil. How do I test all things? First off, am I being entertained by sin? Revivalist Leonard Ravenhill said this: Christians are now entertained by the very things that put Jesus on the cross. And listen, let me make something clear here. I am not preaching from a purist standpoint. And is there some things that I can clean up in my life? Absolutely. I'm going to tell you right now, I am a CSI fan. Like crime scene stuff, oh, bro. Let's just watch it together. All the episodes at once. And is that, I don't know if that's sin, but that's just intriguing. Why? Because there's fast cars and fist fights and good wins. But the deal is, if I'm entertained by it, listen. Here's what I'll say. It was so funny. There was a couple of F-bombs, but it was so funny. If I told a really funny racial joke right now, would that make it okay? And I know I'm taking some liberty, but I hope you know my heart. If this is your first time here, I'm not a legalist. I'm not a TV policeman. I just believe that we need to live this whole narrative, not just the parts that we like. Amen. Second question is what I'm watching, does it please God? Again, or is he just my buddy? Third way we test it is does it lure me away from Christ, or does it draw me close to Christ? Back to Philippians 4:8. What's pure, what's holy? What do I think about? We've moved the plumb line. We've moved the standard so much. We proved it earlier. Only 2 of us in this room remember the old standard. And that's not a slam on anyone, that's just reality. The standard has been moved. And it's sliding further and further and further. I walked the one night last week. I went out and walked the Las Vegas Strip. Don't ask me why. I walked the Las Vegas Strip, and I saw some things that saddened me. Girls on the streets looking for affection. That is somebody's daughter. That's somebody's little girl. That's a creation of Christ that has been lied to and is being robbed from because we've moved our cultural lines so far. And I'm not up here, I'm not beating up Hollywood, I'm not beating up our education system. We're not even taking care of our own home. Let's leave the big dogs alone for a while. You know what I'm saying? Amen, Pastor, you got this. Lisa, if you guys want to come up, this would be good. Here's the question I was posed with earlier this week I was discussing this message with someone. And they said, look, if I go so far over here that I never watch any of this, or I never listen to any of this, or I never participate in any of this, or if I just completely block all that out of my life, how am I going to relate to the world? Well, I have a few responses to that. My first response is some of you in your Christian walk, you are strong enough to not be influenced by any of this. Some of us in this room are strong enough to not be influenced by these influences. Like I can walk the strip of Vegas and there's nothing in me that wants to go back or see it twice. It's like, some of us in this room are so strong that we do need to take our light to dark places and let it shine. Absolutely. Absolutely. But the deal is, do you really believe that this gospel is only relevant if you're willing to watch things that are poisonous? Do you really believe that you allowing negative influences in your life is a greater testimony than Romans 2:4 that says it's the goodness of God that draws people? Do you really believe that not taking a hard look at what you allowed into your life, not really analyzing it, is more powerful than the goodness of God? It's the goodness of God that draws people. And when people see the goodness of God alive in you and making a difference in you and influencing you, and you're living in peace and you're living with confidence and you have victory over addictions and there's nothing holding you back, that's what's attractive. That's what's attractive. Just stand with me. I'll stop at page 12. This morning, this band takes us to one last song, and I'll wrap up just for a couple of minutes. There's communion up here, and I don't know where you are on the scale of what I talked about today. And I don't need to know where you are on the scale of what I talked about today. But I do believe that there's maybe some in this room that's going to have to say, Lord, I need to clean up some influences in my life. Communion is available to anyone here that wants. There's 2 cups, wafer in the bottom, juice on the top. And maybe today's the day where you take this communion and you say, Lord, I don't even know if there's any in my life, but I make a covenant with you today. Show me. If I need to clean something up, show me. Or maybe you know right now, there's some places in my life I need to draw some lines. And Lord, I take this communion, remembering what you did for me, and I draw that line today.